Today on PTL, we're going to break down the semi-final matchups, take a look back at the quarterfinal studs and duds, and listen to the pros in mic check. Welcome to Brussels. Primetime League starts right now.
He gets some damage on his stake, he gets a quadra kill, and it's gonna be all five! Soaz gets a pentakill after Baron! There it is, Coup Tigers go to the semifinals!
Fnatic will advance to the semi-finals, the only team to do that 3 times! Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Brussels. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry, joined here by North America's David Freak Turley and LPL caster Julian Pastry Time Carr. Dude, it's not quite Southern Hemisphere temperatures up here for the World Championship.
No, very chilly here in Brussels, but certainly a lot of good games to look forward to.
Oh, I cannot wait. Now, before we get ahead to the semi-finals, let's take a quick look back at the bracket and how we've ended up here with only 4 teams remaining. Origin, SKT, Fnatic, and the Coup Tigers. They will be doing battle this weekend, and we will be breaking down the semi-finals a little later. But Freak, we've seen 72 champions this World Championship already. Quick update, Gragas, Lux, and Ziggs have been disabled ahead of the semi-finals and for the remainder of the World Championships due to the bug found by Gragas. How do you think this is going to impact the teams, knowing that Gragas was quite a contested pick? And what else are we going to see?
It will make a bit of a change. Honestly, I think we'll end up seeing that sort of next tier of champions. Like, really, the jungle pool was always Elise, and then you'd see Rek'Sai and or Gragas, and then there was like a big pool underneath that. So you've got things like the Lee Sin that we're seeing actually less of than we expected, things like Olaf that you might see Rey never pull out, things like this. So we'll see teams dip down a little bit farther, and it does change pick and ban dynamics a little bit here, because now you've actually got a reason to pinch junglers. There's only 2 sort of S-tier junglers now. So, you know, you had like the Mordekaiser and GP bans that some teams would trade, some teams would ban exclusively on red side. Now you've got another sort of pinch with Elise versus Rek'Sai. And then, you know, there was a discovered one with like Tahm Kench being a big one as well. So there's this, you know, sort of cascading tier list that kind of keeps changing throughout the tournament.
Tahm Kench jungle, are you a believer, Pastry?
I mean, Tahm Kench has been very popular. Tahm Kench is probably going to be banned most of the time, so I don't really expect it to get through. But, I mean, they could play it as a flex. I think if a team can do it, why wouldn't you do it? Because you have another option now on your roster when it comes to picks and bans.
So put you on the spot just a little bit. What champion would you predict to see if you were going to predict one? Oh, Lord and Master Freak.
Oh, new champion played. I'm gonna stick to my guns and say Corki again. At some point, it'll be true. Probably not. Actually, I should say Singe, because also, like, you know, there hasn't yet been a. Well, we say that Corki still hasn't showed up, right? So or Jack. So I feel like it's the worlds that breaks all worlds, and all the you know trends go away. So I don't know. How about Galio? YOLO. YOLO Galio.
All right, Pastry, you got to give me a prediction before we head on and start talking about some of our studs.
Have we seen Ezreal being played yet? I actually expected quite a lot of Ezreal from some of the Chinese AD players. We haven't seen any of it yet. And also
because they all lost.
Unfortunately, we didn't see a whole lot from the Chinese teams, I'm afraid.
It's not about losses. A lot of deaths.
That's true.
So stats.
Let's get ourselves set up and start talking about some of the studs and duds from the quarterfinals. And as we said, before semi-finals, let's talk about the studs and duds from the quarterfinals. Simple rule, who stepped up in your mind and who didn't. I'm gonna kick things off because I'm in the host's chair and I'm allowed to. Stud, looking back at the quarterfinals, has to be Smeb from the Coup Tigers. He really showed us how dominant somebody can be in lane, despite being behind in kills multiple times with Fiora, still managed to out-trade and out-duel and prove that on any given someday, he will lose, unfortunately. Looking at the Duds side, I was so bummed by Deft. There was so much hype coming in. We had that fantastic feature of Deft versus Reckless, one of the world's best teamfighting AD carries in a meta where extended teamfights is a thing. And then he played Jace, and that did nothing. And then he just teleports, didn't do anything, and I was just really disappointed. So for me, major dud was Deft. Freak, stud and dud, looking back at quarterfinals.
I'm going to go with a pair of top laners here. Top laner stud, Huni. I think Huni super stepped up. I tweeted it last week, but like, the Freak who watches competitive loves seeing Riven come out because he's so exciting. The solo queue Freak really doesn't want to see any more Riven, so I'm a bit torn here. But the fact that Hootie's bringing out some counter picks, he's one of the very few Riven players actually playing Riven at this tournament here. And I'm glad that he's branching out the champion pool, bringing things out, AP Echo, things like this. He actually upped his damage per minute from 40 to 460 in the quarterfinals.
Is that all?
I mean, it's still pretty high. He's the only person in the quarterfinals to keep his opponent below 1 damage per gold, which is like pretty hard to do, but he kind of wrecked Cora there in that one. You could say Cora didn't do very well, but either way. Honestly, Hoodie had a really stand-up performance, great top lane play. Blind picked Riven, won that game as well.
So you've really hammed on your studs.
Yeah,
You're done.
So someday, kind of the opposite here. You mentioned the fact that Smeb did so well, Sub did basically nothing. He got counterpicked 3 out of the 4 games. The only game he didn't get counterpicked, he first picked Darius. So he's been given the chance to succeed. He's given the chance, and he went negative in CSD. He gave Smeb 580 damage per minute.
Hey, he didn't give Smeb.
I mean,
Smeb
he gave
earned
Smeb
it.
some solo kills when Riven had 2 deaths. The guy, or when Fiora had 2 deaths.
Well, I agree with
Sunday
you.
got walked over.
A dud of note. Now, pastry time. Studs and duds from quarterfinal.
My stud's actually Gorilla from Coup Tigers. Not only did he bring Tahm Kench into the world's meta and create chaos now in the picks and ban phase, he's just been super solid. He's pretty much took it to Peekaboo their entire quarterfinal. Support Cheng was going off. Gorilla's always been a great player. He did it with Janna in 2014. He's done it again with Tahm Kench in 2015. I'm so impressed by the player. Gorilla's one of the best support players in the world. Super keen for that Soraka that he loves so much, but we'll have to see. As far as Doug goes, I'm going to have to unfortunately keep putting more Chinese players under the bus. Koro did not play to the expectation that I had for him. He's a semi-carry player. He can play carry. He's a very good low econ top laner as well. I expected a Gnar player this good to really be able to beat up on a lot of Darius players. His Fiora looked okay, but his TPs did not. He never got a counter pick. He didn't play carry or low econ. Both styles he can do, and just didn't do either of them. EDG in general obviously let me down, but Koro especially. I expected the Knight in Shining Armor, and just kind of tripped over it on his face and fell straight into Hooney's Riven.
Well, there we go. Tripped over on his face, according to pastry time. So that's our studs and duds from the quarterfinals. You guys at home, let us know on Twitter. Now we're going to take a look forward to our semifinals. And it's time to break down our first semi-final matchup between Origin and SK Telecom. We're going to start this off by looking at 5 key topics that I want you guys to chime in on. First of all, player talent, then picks and bans, then I want to look at the laning phase and early game, their vision control, and finally, their team decision making, which can include team fighting and strategies and rotations. Don't worry, I know it's tough, pastry time, I'll guide you through it. Let's start with team talent. And which team do you think has got the deeper roster, Freak?
I think this was pretty obvious. It's sort of 2 mid laners that are both among the 5 best in the world. SK Telecom T1 are obviously incredible. Easyhoon's starting. I think that's fine. He's a great player in his own right. Marin is probably the best top laner in the world when you roll in his entire package. The fact that he's a great shot caller as well, plays so many different styles. He's actually been great, especially when you compare him to Soaz, who's actually been underperforming. I had a wishy-washy idea of him, and then the first week was pretty good from Soaz, and it's been all kind of downhill from there. He's been kind of bottom of the barrel stats-wise for most top laners for most of this tournament, especially for someone in top 4, so that's really big mismatch. I mean, just down the line, you've got such amazing players.
Pastry, a bit of a monologue here from Freak. Is there anything that Origin can do to balance this talent? Maybe Niels in the AD carry role?
Yeah, absolutely. Bottom lane for Origin is actually very impressive to me. Niels has been a standout player all tournament long, and obviously a very strong showing from the rookie this year. In general, people have picked on the SK Telecom bottom lane. That's how EDG managed to actually knock them over for the most part at MSI. So I think there is options. Soaz and Peke are good players, don't get me wrong, but they're just inconsistent. Peke has been quite consistent, surprisingly, this Worlds, and Soaz has been very inconsistent, so...
Well, let's talk picks and bans then. Inconsistency, I think Peke, his champion pool's one of the more difficult things, pastry time.
It's just so small. Picks and bans, you would hope and think Origin have amazing options because they've got so many flexible players. And then Peke only plays 2 champions. It's Orianna or Nivea. And it's well, I guess I know what they're doing now because they can no longer use these flex picks with their strong players like Soaz and even Niels and Mithy with a bit of flexibility in the bottom lane because it's just Peke's always doing the same thing.
And we know Easyhoon's starting for SKT on Saturday. He's played 2 games in the group stage already. How does this affect their picks and bans and then maybe transition into the early laning phase, Freak?
I think it's pretty hard for the picks and bans to be easy for these guys because we haven't really seen Easyhoon play a whole lot of games. He got 2 group stage games, that was it, and otherwise he's kind of a mystery. Mid lane pool hasn't changed that much in the last couple of months, so you can still look at his old LCK games and get a decent idea of it. But in general, actually, there is one thing I do like, though, for Origin's pick and ban. Obviously, SKT are very consistent, but Origin will pull out random stuff. The top lane Vladimir against KT is what I'm going to point out, where out of nowhere, Malphite top comes up from Someday, and he's like, you know what? Top Vladimir, what'd it do? Here's a hardcore counter pick. And that was actually a very good game from Soaz. So these really out of the ordinary, haven't seen it in 6 months champions will be there occasionally, and maybe Origin gets a game or 2 off that.
We'll have to see. Something else that can play into their favor, the Western lane swap has sort of become somewhat of the de facto. Do you think that's a fair statement to make, considering Origin comes from a region where lane swapping against Fnatic and the likes of H2K has been so much the norm?
If this was day one of the tournament, I'd say sure, it's an advantage for Origin. But at this point of the game, we've seen all the teams adapt very well. We've actually seen a couple of new tweaks of it come out as well. We've seen people come into the dual lane really, really early on and actually balance all the waves. So I think SKT, I would be very surprised to see them get behind in the first 5 minutes in a lane swap game.
Pastry time, what's your opinion on these two teams' vision control across the map?
Origin's vision control has been interesting throughout the
tournament. That's a word.
They like to get very aggressive with their movement. They set up for things well. They play around their teleports very well as well. But like most supports, Mithy does like to face check, brushes every now and then and get himself killed. So does Wolf, to be fair, but he's done it a little less this tournament than maybe the middle of this year. In general, though, they set up so well for objectives, SKT especially.
And it does make Kalista then a little bit more important with the tendencies he supports, the fact that so many of them are so good at denying vision and whatnot. Being able to yank your support back out and getting Kalista, I think is a big deal.
It really is, and it's something that Niels has fallen back into time and time again, and I'm really interested to see how much of a threat SKT place on Niels' Kalista. Now, the last topic that I do want to talk about before I make you guys predict is these teams' decision-making. Now, this can come from the rotations. Pesha, you've talked about setting up for objectives, but what about contrasting mid to late game, strategy, map play, team fighting? Do you see any chances here in terms of Origin maybe towards SKT?
I actually think this is where the teams get very different. They're both strong team fighters. SKT are probably quite a bit better. But SK Telecom has sort of made their way this tournament by punishing people so hard in the early to mid game, because as soon as you make a mistake, they know exactly what to do to punish it. Conversely, Origin have won games by doing random stuff in the late game with their double teleports. And that's actually a decent way to beat SK Telecom. It's probably not going to work 3 out of 5 games, but it might work 1 or 2. So if they can get a solid game plan for maybe the other game, they might stretch it all the way over, because they do weird stuff with double TP, and SKT might not be prepared for that.
Absolutely agree. I think SKT, like, when they're behind or equal, they play very slow, very risk-averse, very much around their wards. They'll burn flashes if there's a chance someone gets caught out. Like, they're very, very safe. Once they're ahead, it's ridiculous. They are so, like, they smell blood in the water, and it's a school of piranhas there from SKT. And Origin loves to overextend for farm. The number of times we're going to see Soaz or Peke or someone push too far up, get killed, and then the map gets broken open. Probably 2 of the 3 wins come from that. But as Pastry said, there's some really good clutch shot calling from Origin. Random scenarios can play to their favor, so if the map does get broken up without them getting punished, Origin have a lot of familiarity in this case.
So let's find out whether or not Origin can actually take a game off of SKT. I want to put you guys on the spot and put your predictions down. Origin or SK Telecom, which team will advance to the finals, and which player will have a shot at the second World Championship title? Faker and Bengi or Peke? One way or the other, one of these guys has a chance. Freak, you're first.
SKT, probably a 3-0 as well. I'd say in any given game, there's like a 10 to 12% chance that Origin wins off of Chaos. But if you do the math there, an 88% chance 3 times is still more than half. Like, it's still actually more likely than not they go 3-0 anyway.
I'm not planning to do the math. I'll take your word for it. Pastry.
I think Origin might actually take a game, but I think SKT, 3-1 if not 3-0, I think Faker's going to have a very good shot with Bengi at another World Championship title.
Well, there you have it. SKT from PTL. You've heard what we've had to say about the semi-finals. It's about time we listen in to what the pros had to say last week from the quarterfinals in this week's edition of Mic Check.
Why don't we sit here and chill, dude? Why don't we just sit here and chill? Yeah. The Season 5 World Championship of League of Legends. And chill.
Victor no flash. Victor no flash. Victor no flash.
No gauge, no gauge, no gauge.
Casa. Hey, baron.
应该没事，应该没事。
He's fine though. Okay. Good job. No. It's fine. I hit. I have black shield. They're fighting bottom.
Tipping.
We're about tipping. They TP really far from us.
Rek'Sai.
They TP really far from us.
This guy, back in.
Yeah. Aurelius both far.
Ulti. Boom.
He's low.
Nice.
Really good. Okay. Back up, baby.
Rek'Sai.
Careful, LeBlanc combo. Take care now. Just back up where we can, maybe.
Back. Kite back. Just kite.
I'm around.
Good.
Yeah.
Double kill.
Nice.
Is that it?
这
Great.
个心情放轻松下去打嘛，然后把你们自己该有的东西打出来，不用想那么多。
렉사이보다 빨리 와.
훨씬 빨라.
이거 타워 한 대 깨면서 해.
얘네 힐 있어요. 오케이.
아니야 힐 없어. 둘 다 노플.
나이스.
덕큐.
아이고 나 실수했다.
나 안 죽을게. 노플. 나이스.
오케이.
오케이 바리 우리 할 수 있다. 우리 할 수 있다.
레인 오버가 우리를 부른다.
만나야 돼.
가자. 잘 봐봐.
나 좀 멀다.
빅토르
빅토르.
피오라.
이거
노플이야.
바로
나이스.
없어 미드
다트 나 실패했어. 나이스. 건다. 천천히.
뒤에
오케이. 나 일단 뺄게. 나
천천히.
궁. 딜하고 죽어.
딜 당하고 죽었어.
천천히 봐.
룰루 잡아.
말파 보고 있다 우리.
천천히. 잡아.
말파 나왔어.
이쪽 봐줘.
고치 맞춰놨다. 이게 내 최선이야.
나이스.
Don't talk with the enemy. We are not here to be friends. You know, we are here to smash them.
Finish him. He's my friend.
I don't care. Don't die back.
Okay.
I can go. If enemy dive.
Remember from TP have.
C.
Okay. You can TP.
TP.
Min 6. Now we. Min 6 now.
Gragas no flash. Gragas no flash. 나이스.
Can. Kill. Riven. Warning. Back. No block.
나이스.
빼.
Okay, I V.
C.
맵에 캔케야?
히너 패시.
Can Riven.
히너 패시. 우타.
We can see. Back. Mida.
레벤다.
C gragas no flash.
你先走。We can glass.
나이스. 디스.
This maybe that. No go.
Two is okay. Two is okay.
To die, to kill is okay.
You have all?
No, I got him now.
Go top, push top, finish top.
Nice, guys. Okay, this is custody. Okay, he can actually kill you guys all. Okay.
No, we got it.
Never kill
Nice, guys. Reserve. Nice. Good job. Nice.
Hello, Summoners and Summonettes. It's time to talk about the Twitter question from last week, which was, which player in the quarterfinals would have the highest KDA? And for a shot at the Hall of Fame, you had to tell us exactly what that KDA would be. Well, there's some good news and bad news. 138 of you incredibly intelligent, beautiful, wonderful, just the smartest people ever got the question right. Of course, it was Bang with the highest KD in the quarterfinals. And I mean, I cannot stress enough the level of intelligence and skill and game prediction that the people who answer this question right had. I mean, it's just truly some of the smartest people in the world of League of Legends. So congratulations to the 138 of you. Now, the bad news, of course, is the fact that the Hall of Fame question was to tell us his exact KDA. The exact KDA was 12.6 repeating. Unfortunately, the close we got was 12. Good enough for mention, not enough for Hall of Fame, but at Robert Anderson 7, congrats on being pretty close. All right, so good and bad news for this week's question, last week's question. How about this week's question? This one's going to be, first of all, which two teams will advance to the finals? I'm going to guess SK Telecom, T1, and Fnatic. And for the Hall of Fame, tell us which player in the Summers will have the most kills and how many kills will they have. Now, I'm going to say, again, SKT and Fnatic advance, and the player is going to be Reckless with 23 kills in his semifinal matchup. That's my guess. If you guys want to join in as well, tweet at Esports, #PTL, and remember to tell us the two teams advancing, the player with the most kills, and how many kills he's going to get. Good luck.
Wow, real easy. Teams, player, KD. You don't make it simple, do you?
1 in 4 chance of getting it right.
Well, let's talk about something that I can actually talk about, and it's going to be the next semi-final, Fnatic versus the Coup Tigers. We're going to break down the 5 categories that we did for the first semi-final, and Pastry, I'm going to start with you. Let's look at the two teams and their talent. who do you think has got the deeper roster when it comes to player skill?
Individually, I actually think Fnatic probably has like standout individual players. Huni's been great all tournament. Forbiven's been amazing, almost as a sleeper player from the mid lane. And they've got a super solid bottom lane and great jungler as well. Like, Q are a good team. They have good players. Gorilla especially stands out for me on their team. But as far as individual talent goes, Q definitely played more as a team, but Fnatic just have superstars.
Yeah, I think there's two spots where Q can edge. Smeb can play better than Huni. I think Gorilla as an individual player is probably a bit better than Yellowstar, but I still think Yellowstar is a complete package, much like Marin. Just he does so much for the team, good shot calling, everything else. So yeah, talent-wise, in terms of individual champion movements, I think it's almost 50-50.
Well, Smeb was my stud, and I'm a little nervous for Huni because
hey, Huni was my stud.
Hey,
so
Smeb showed
which
up.
one of us is smarter?
We're going to find out, won't we? Hashtag quickshot win. Let's look at picks and bans and talk about some of the champions then that these players are going to pull out. Tom Kench is something that we've seen Gorilla and Yellowstar play. We saw Yellowstar doing some interesting sort of lane ganks with it when he played it. Actually played in LCS as well. Failed miserably then. And Febiven is showing he can play anything and everything. So picks and bans, who's got the edge?
I actually think there's a big edge for Fnatic here. Two main reasons. So number one, they have a counter pick for, actually multiple main reasons. Number one, they have a counter pick for Fiora ready. So if the Fiora comes out, the Riven comes out, which means you have that little pick and ban dance up there. Number two, Fnatic are willing to play with Mordekaiser and Gangplank in the game. In every single one of their quarterfinal matchups, they were willing to let it all the way go down to the last ban. Then we saw EDG ban like the Mord, so then the GP ban came out. But Fnatic are willing to play with both. So their red side bans are unlocked. That's a big deal. Meanwhile, Q Tigers are not willing. When they played against KT, they banned both on their red side games, so already bans freed up because Fnatic are willing to play with them. The other big one is the champion pool for Reignover is quite deep in the jungle. I think he's happy and willing to play much more than just the Elise and the Rek'Sai, so the Gragas disable helps him as well.
Pastry, has Freak missed anything here, or do you share the sentiment?
Fairly comprehensive. I think so as well. It's just the way Q play. They play very much as a team. They almost always pick an overarching strategy, especially from somewhere like the bottom lane with Ashe for Prey. And I think just in general, Fnatic have shown a lot of flexibility already with their solo laners, and that's going to continue here. Q, they'll have stuff prepared. Q always bring out something special. They did it in the quarterfinal, but I think generally right now, from what we've seen already from the teams, Fnatic just seem a little bit more flexible.
Now, in terms of flexibility, if some of these curveballs get thrown during picks and bans, who's it going to hurt more during the laning phase? Fnatic have shown they can do, anything really, but Ku were mostly looking for those head-to-head lanes during the quarterfinal. Pastry, what's your take on both of these teams early?
I think laning-wise, Fnatic actually also stand up here very well. Again, it goes back to their strong solo laners. Forbiven and Huni have had great tournaments, and I think no matter the matchup, they'll always get themselves into a good spot, and they'll be able to play well, especially in the early laning phase, and navigate a tough matchup. It might be Reignover actually that suffers here for Fnatic, because if the jungle pool is not as much to his liking with Gragas sort of out of the pool now, he might not be able to be as effective because so much of Forbiven and Huni's success has come from Reignover's early pressure. Bottom lane's probably going to be fine. Ku might be able to find an edge there as well, though.
Freak, I can see a little bit of disbelief there.
I've been thinking about it, right? Like, so mid lane I think is totally easy for Fnatic here. Kuro, I don't think is going to flex on Febiven at all, and Febiven's a big carry. I think a lot of it comes down to Huni and Smeb here, because these are teams that are fairly evenly matched in overall sort of gameplay sense. And so when teams are kind of at a standstill strategically, the big deal is who can break open the split push. And that just to me is so incredibly important that like it comes down to that individual skill matchup, which is very, very close.
And talking about breaking that open vision on those sidelines to either enable the split push or disable it, which team's going to have the better vision? You've already touched on Prey's Ashe, and Hawkshot is something we're trying to talk a little bit more about on air because it's such a difficult thing to quantify. If Prey gets Ashe, or if their warding's good, who's going to have the better vision?
I mean, Gorilla's already a fantastic support. He was my start already for the quarterfinal. Ku's vision is miles ahead of Fnatic's. Not that Fnatic's is super bad, but again, European teams, they have this tendency to face check where they shouldn't maybe be with champions like Tom Kench, like the Braum, and they can get themselves caught in silly positions. So Ku, a very macro, high-level team. They like to move strategically around the map, and it's because they have strong vision and good sense of where the game's going.
Yep, absolutely agree. Warding's very, very good for these guys.
Historically, Ku's been a team that's played from behind. It's something that you see in the LCK, it happened again in quarterfinals. So with decision-making and strategy, this is something Ku maybe has in their favor a little bit because Fnatic rarely plays from behind. It's not something they have the most experience with.
It's funny because it's sort of like the Origin SKT thing where like Fnatic are very good with their crazy shot calls. Like Yellow Star's good at this. Yellow Star's really good at making the right choices. There was the 22-minute ace they had against EDG in game 1 where they made the right call to go for the 4v2 at Baron, and then Yellow Star sacrificed himself to buy enough time for the Baron to go down. These really smart calls come out of Fnatic. But yes, as you mentioned, Q are so good at playing from behind that an early game lead is not enough to secure Fnatic the win, and Q are very good shot callers.
Will they be able to play from behind when Fnatic gets a 24-minute Baron?
I mean,
there are few teams that take as many early Barons as Fnatic.
I mean, honestly, Fnatic are a very aggressive team, and I think that's a big benefit against Q. Late game, they've shown they can make the right decisions.
Closing the game out is a big deal.
Yes, and they have shown that even when behind, the HQ game certainly comes to mind, they can make the big plays and play late game as well. But Q have shown a lot of resilience in the mid game, so if they don't get hammered by Fnatic, it should look good. But Fnatic can just come out swinging with the LeBlanc, with the Riven, and just go crazy.
So, gentlemen, we've had a pretty serious discussion here, which is somewhat unexpected considering the tone of PTL today. And I think it's because this is a difficult match to call.
Yes.
So I'm not going to, and I'm going to make you guys do it. Fnatic or Q Tigers?
What a cop-out. Hashtag frequent. Quickshot doesn't get anything for this.
Who is winning your semi-final, with what score and why?
Well, I thought it was going to be Fnatic beating KT. That has to be Fnatic beating Q Tigers. I'm still hoping for those 10 points in Pick'em, but I still say it's Fnatic. I do and don't want it to go to 5 games. 5 games are exciting, but at the same time, I just want the fate that Fnatic are really good. So
and it would be a European team in the final.
In some number of games.
Pastry, who's your winner and why?
Well, I already ruined my pick'ems. Thanks for reminding me, Freak.
Yeah,
EDG did not make it through that quarterfinal, but I did predict the winner.
Were they winning Worlds for you or something as well?
Maybe. But I did predict the winner of that quarterfinal to go to the final. So I think it is going to be Fnatic as well. And it's just, again, this run is so hard up this side of the bracket to presumably play SKT. Fnatic have already shown that they're such a strong, resilient team. I think they can beat Q here and have a very good run at the final.
Now is the question, are you just putting all your EDG faith with Fnatic, or are you angry at them for knocking your team out?
I certainly hope not, because every time I've seen an Australian LPL caster faith, it's not ended well. There's your predictions for our semi-finals. All right, it's about time we start our segment of Death Timers, where I'm happy to announce that last week's winner was Monte Cristo, but we've had to kill him. And that's why he's not here. So, I'm joined by the North American LCS and LPL casters whose region's death timers are currently 3 months. We're not going to wait that We're not going to wait that long.
Hashtag frequent.
We're going to give you guys 45 seconds to answer the following question.
Yeah.
Why will the team you did not pick to win the semi-final have a chance to win their semi-final? Let's talk about the underdog story. Now, I know that Pastry Time, you picked SKT to beat Origin. So you have 45 seconds starting.
You get thrown under the bus.
2, 1. Why did Origin win?
Look, I mean, if they're starting easy, Hoon, maybe they play him every game and then we somehow win. I don't know.
Good start.
It's going to be craziness, right? It has to be them, I don't know, someone missing a ban and so is getting Gangplank, or Peke pulling out a 3rd champion, which would be crazy because he only plays 2. I don't know. Origin have a chance. Niels could go nuts.
You don't even believe your own argument.
No, trust me, they got this. Origin, it's so much disbelief built in that's where the belief comes from. They're going full North America on the attempt of beating SKT.
I'll do your work for you. Just have Spawn predict SKT wins.
That's true. That's actually my full plan. Just make sure Spawn predicts that they win. Seriously though, I think Solas is going to go off. They're going to mess up, give them Mordekaiser Gangplank Lulu, and we're going to have an Origin win. Yeah, oh yeah.
Just let it go.
Just miss all the bans.
Well, that's time. That's time. Not the most convincing of arguments. I'm not going to lie here, Pastry. Let's move on to the next semi-final. It's Fnatic versus Q. Now, Freak, you predicted Fnatic to win this one. So you have 45 seconds to tell me why Q will, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Point number 1, it's actually believable that Q might win this match. So already there's 70% more chance that I win in this one. Honestly, there's a lot of high-skill players here. Smeb went off last quarterfinal against Someday, who is an incredibly good player. So Smeb could do the same against Huni. We know Fnatic are a bit inconsistent. They were way too cocky in week 1, though it probably won't happen here. There's always a chance Fnatic makes those big flubs. They can be over-aggressive. In fact, Fnatic were the worst quarterfinal team in accruing farm between 15 and 30 minutes in. And if the game slows down a little bit, Q's going to start ballooning up in gold. Q are great at playing from behind, so there's a lot of late game shot calling potential here from the Q Tigers. Gorilla can continue to bring out something new. Who are known to bring out new stuff when it comes down to the edge of the bracket. So, hashtag freak win.
Well, that's time. You can't say hashtag. That's my line. You guys at home decide
I did
whose
Twitter like 5 minutes ago.
Whose argument was better? Hit us up by tweeting hashtag pastry win if you think his pitiful argument will prove Origin can overcome SKT, or hashtag freak win if you think Freak has predicted correctly and can help the coup beat Fnatic.
I guess it'll be a coup.
Heyo.
All right, we'll find out whether or not Pastry Time's interesting Death Timers discussion will come true on Saturday when Origin take on SKT. It's at 4 p.m. local time here in Brussels, 7 a.m. Pacific. Now on Sunday, Fnatic will go up against Coup Tigers at 2 p.m. local time, 2 hours earlier, but daylight savings will change the clocks here in Europe, so you guys make sure you double check your times wherever you are in the world to tune in for that semi-final. Moving on, we're going to take a look at the top 5 plays from last week, or as Soaz can call it, Le Penta. At number 5, Fnatic's Febervin made all of EDG's life bars disappear as he picked up a triple kill.
I think they're going to turn their attention onto Koro. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Grand Challenge comes down, body slam connects. Koro will get dropped, and it's first blood to Fnatic. But Pawn will teleport in and get himself one back. Hooney's on the way out. Will have that broken wing slash to get more. Hooney does get dropped by Clearlove. It's a messy fight so far. 2 for 2, and it's Jungler on mid lane action. Febervin with double bumps gets a triple kill and gets out.
Coming in at number 4, Pawn's death was not in the cards as EDG's Maiko helped change his fate.
Pawn's going to get dove here. They've got Alistar coming in behind the turret. Pawn's in so much trouble. Yellowstar needs to hit his combo. Flashes for the knock-up hit, but Pawn backwards. But Maiko saves him, keeps him alive.
After making that great escape, Pawn had one more trick up his sleeve in our number 3 play of the week.
Reckless will sidestep the shock blast before Pawn has teleported with 100 hit points. He flashes it and gets the kill.
They just completely outplayed him.
Diving into number 2, AHQ's Westor takes the bait and the kill in his 1v1 versus SKT's Faker.
Faker's gonna get killed. Westor follows the flash. May not survive. One more hit. The melee minions chasing, and Westor wins the 1v1.
Has the potion ticking too, but nicely done by Westor.
I predict a slow-mo zoom in from our observers.
Ignite right there. Wow, really nice.
And our number 1 play, Origin Soaz with Darius and the Pentakill.
They're trying to collapse.
The team is coming. Amazing can jump over the wall. Who's going to win this fight? It goes to the red team. That goes to Origin. Here's the battle. Karsa alone in front. Absorbing. Gets dunked. Soaz is online. Maple's down. He's still going. He doesn't get the third as Azonius comes across. He gets some damage on his stake. He gets a quadra kill. He's on to NL. And it's going to be all 5 to save the game. Soaz gets a pentakill after Baron.
Absolutely love seeing pentakills on the Penta. And if you guys at home want to see your favorite plays featured on the Penta, hit us up on Twitter at LOL Esports. Use that hashtag #ThePenta, and we'll try and get it into that list for next week's episode. That does it for today's issue of PTL. I'd like to say thank you to Freak and to Pastry Time for joining me out here in the cold. And as we go, we have one high-flying, stunning moment in our last hit.
There's the heal, and Kuro now with a clear line for the damage on the arrow. Can he do it a little bit more? And the auto attack gives Kuro the double kill. Someday a bit late to the party, and I think time's out for him. He's gonna try it all. Oh, he got stopped by the gravity field. Triple kill for Kuro. Oh man.
I love how Gravity Field freezes animations.
Strike a pose.
Good night, Darius.
Insane.
Dude, I'm really digging Brussels. Fuji is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had a good episode too. I mean, and look at this, we got waffles. This
Yeah,
is amazing.
I'm stoked. I mean, like, Pastry's death time has sucked, but yours was good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't waffle on my picks.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Nope, I'm fried.
actually went everywhere.
Got the young, got the young
Sorry.
powdered sugar on, you know.